Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. Excuse me. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and I am so sorry for that weird internet stuff. I thought we had that all behind us and we weren't going to have those kind of problems anymore. But apparently not. So thank you all for coming tonight or tuning into the show after this live stream. We air live every Thursday night from 7 to 8 o'clock at night. Again, my name is Dr. Rita Louise, and tonight we are going to be talking about the law of attraction. I was going to make like this music thing, but I'll just let that go by. And so what is the law of attraction if you're not familiar with it? The premise of this concept is that like attracts like. And it brings these things into our personal experience. So if we have good and positive energy, we attract good and positive things to ourselves. If we have negative energy and negative emotions, then we bring negative or things with bad outcomes into our life situation. So the origin of the law of attraction, obviously it didn't have this catchy name, law of attraction. But the concepts that are tied to it go back into deep antiquity, and there's not really anyone that speaks directly on it, especially using that term. Um, but the concepts that sit underneath and behind this title really involve things that we've talked about on the show. Being in a mindful place, breathing, um, meditating, making sure that you are in the flow. Because when you're being mindful, when you're breathing, when you're in the flow, then you typically are not in a negative place. You've shifted your personal vibration to a higher level. So let's talk about personal vibration just briefly. So each of us, so when I'm giving a presentation on like the chakras, I talk about how each of us send, receive, and assimilate or process information from the world around us. But when we're talking about, I don't want to say law of attraction, but what we send out are the things that we think. So we think, we have an emotional reaction. It's the vibration of the emotional reaction that we are broadcasting out into the world around us for really anybody to see. And I kind of joke around. It's like, well, what are you sending out there? A Hallmark movie or a horror thriller? Kind of depending on what your vibration is. And I think we've all met people that just seem so kind and loving and, and not like on the surface and fake, but they just have that energy. But I know we've all met people who just kind of have bad mojo in general, and you're like, I'm not going next to that person because they got bad energy. We've all had that experience, and that's what's going on in their inner world and their inner experiencing that they're sending out. So if you're one of those people that got that bad mojo going on, it would be no wonder that having, according to the law of attraction, having less than successful things happen to you, happen, or finding yourself surrounded by kind of negative people, cranky people, people that are only looking out for their own interest. When you get into the 1800s, it becomes a bit more systematic, a little more scientific, and it kind of talks about these ideas of thoughts and emotions and how, negative ones bring negative and positive bring positive. But you bring it into contemporary, where law of attraction really made mainstream thought. And what you see is, if I think this way, and if I think about it hard enough, and if I wish for it hard enough, and if I say affirmations, and if I make a vision board, all these things are going to happen, and I'm going to get $1 million, a mansion, a yacht, the love of my life, and here's this whole list of stuff that I want, and all I have to do is think about it. And I would love for it to be that way, but that's not how it works. It really works on what is the basic vibration you have in your space. Now, many of us, myself included, are really good at sabotaging what's going on. So we ask for success and we plan for failure. We focus our thoughts on, well, this is what I want, and we can have that wish, that desire for a minute, and then this other part of our brain steps in and goes, well, but what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Which really is the dominant vibration you are sending out into the universe about this whole thing. So I'll share a story because, I got a million of them. So, this was many years ago, and I still haven't gotten over the trauma of this. So I used to do, or try to do, in-person classes, and I would, put together, the curriculum, and I would find a space to host it, and I would do advertising and promote it and do all of these things. And I wouldn't get anybody to sign up. I'd get 2 people, which really didn't help my ego or self-esteem. But at the same time, so I'm doing these things to be successful, and I want the event to be successful. But there would be these lingering doubts sitting in the back of my mind going, but what if nobody shows up? Well, but what about this? Well, what about that? And there was more energy on the, well, what about this part, that, what? I got what I asked for. As they say, from your lips to God's ears. When you put out that energy, when you ask God, the universe, source, whatever word you want to use on it, they don't hear nods. It's neutral. So if you say, I don't want to get sick, and all you're focused on is sick, you're going to get sick. And so it's not about changing it to like, I want to be healthy, but just, that would be better. It would be way better. Or the other thing would be when you catch yourself going, well, I don't want to be sick, or, what if, nobody shows up, and just getting rid of that thought, and dropping that from your internal narrative. That really, to me, is a more hands-on, practical piece to having this part work for you. Um, and as I talked about in the beginning, and if don't haven't been here a lot, I did a show talking about being in the flow, and I think we all know what it feels like to be in the flow. And when you're trying to create, or when you're living your life and you find that your energy dips and you're not in the flow, that is always an indicator that there is some kind of negative energy, lower vibrating emotion going on inside of you, which should cause you to stop, pause, maybe recalibrate, breathe, do some mindfulness exercises, maybe some journaling to help raise your vibration back into a more positive energy. Uh, one of the other things, and I'm going to kind of end on this note, one of the other things about how the current law of attraction is being presented, it's really all about what can I get? What's in it for me? Well, I'll make a vision board because I can get millions of dollars, versus I want to be in a place of inner peace and I want to experience calm. And if I get $1 million, that would be totally cool. But it shouldn't be the goal, because when that becomes the goal, that knocks you out of alignment, that takes you out of that centeredness place, which is going to make it where it's not going to work anyway. So it took me a long time to figure that out. And even in looking at a lot of material talking about law of attraction, it took a lot of digging to figure out what they were really talking about. What they're really talking about is spending the time to find that calm and peaceful and content place within yourself. And then from that, these things, well, find that place, open yourself up to any divine inspiration that you might receive, like, hey, go buy a lottery ticket. Okay. And then it's going to be presented to you. And it's just a very different thing than putting in all this effort and having little sticky notes all over your house with affirmations on them, and you're like going, but I said this like 500 times every day and it didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work because there was too much energy behind it. And the energy behind it is, well, it's really not going to work, so I have to do these things. I hope that made sense. Yeah. So I hope this kind of clarifies, the concept of law of attraction. I mean, I know I just kind of like breeze over the surface of some of these topics, but I will say that this topic and a lot of the things that I've talked about are part of this new book that I'm working on, that I would tell you when it's going to be released, but I don't really know yet because I'm still working on it. But I will tell you when it's ready. Okay. So I'm going to open up the lines here in a second. I just want to remind you, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, wait, let me get my thing up here. Go to soulhealer.com and send me a message or just schedule an appointment. It's all good. Don't forget to like Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook. So not Rita Louise, but Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook. And this will keep you up to date of any events or, live stream, etc., etc. Or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Just Energy Radio on YouTube, and do all those YouTube things. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, leave me a comment, because I would love it. And I really appreciate all of you coming and being here with me today. Okay. So, wow, I got like a gajillion comments here. So I'm just going to say hi real quick, and then I will respond to questions. Okay. So hi, Michelle. Hey, Sin. And yes, you can. Sin, you're killing me. Okay, so we have Sin. I'm going to come back to you, Sin. You know I will. We have Lady Sabia. Hey, hey, lady. We have Veronica. We have Miss Debbie. Hey, girly. We have Bradley. And then we have George and Veronica. We have Alexis. Yay. We have Pierre. We have Mary. Hey, Mary. And my good friend, Anthony. Anthony and I worked at Starbucks together. We were always sweet and innocent and never did anything bad. Ever. Ever. Okay, so I'm going back to the top. And so, Sin, you kill me. All right, so Sin wants to know, how does Omari feel towards me? Um, so we've had this conversation before, but actually I have a different little piece of commentary, and I do feel like Omari kind of likes you. Um, but I'm saying that in my hope, Sin, is that you, you don't go like tracking him down and chasing him down and kind of become like this weird stalker person just because I feel like there is actually some kind of interest in you. So let him come to you. Okay, don't chase after him. Okay. All right, Veronica. Ooh, and Debbie says I brought Kevin. Woohoo! Hey, Kevin. Nice to. I haven't seen your name, but hey. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay, so Alexis says, and thank you for being here, but I can't believe you're like looking for another at this job thing already. But hang on. Okay, so Alexis wants to know, what am I supposed to? Why am I supposed to stay at this shift? Oh, why am I supposed to stay? Oh, that's a slight shift on that question. This is interesting and not really what I was expecting to have come up. And so I don't know if there is talk in the background about a shift in, the tree, the structure of the company, or if there is somebody that is leaving but hasn't really turned their notice in. But I feel like you are going to be moving up into a higher level position, you're going to be doing something else that I think you're going to like a lot better. So I would say stay there a little bit longer, because I'm feeling like, it's not imminent like this week, but I feel like it's going to be pretty soon. Like somebody's going to quit, somebody's going to retire, someone's going to get caught in a scandal. Who the hell knows? Either that or there's going to be a reorganization. That's the word I was looking for. That will move you into a different but better spot. Personally, I like, somebody quitting and you moving into a different job title, because you would not be under the same people you've been under. I like that scenario better. Okay. And of course, if you have a follow-up question, put it below. All right. So Pierre says, hi, Mr. Rita. Excuse me, Mr. Rita. I asked you late about my life mission, and you said I was worried if I quit it. So I asked the universe to help. I cut the internet cable by accident, and the repairman came to repair and offered the most enjoyable health business to me. It was Isogenics, I think that. We are so happy. Thank you for your comfort. Yay! Thank you, Pierre. And I still speak American French, just in case you're wondering. But no, that is just like such a wonderful testimonial. I really appreciate that. And, and I'm kind of like looking at that whole dynamic for you, and I feel like it checks off a lot of boxes for you. I feel like you're not under somebody's thumb. I feel like the product that you are working with, you like. It's not like you're like presenting or pushing or selling something that you don't have respect for. So it really feels like it has a win-win-win component to it. So yay. Okay, let's see, what else do we got? So Lady Sabia said, I found that none to little effort brings things to me as long as it doesn't take away from anybody unfairly. It's right. And that's really true. Sometimes we try so hard to do things or achieve things. For example, you're having a conversation with somebody and you're talking about a movie and you can see the actor's face in your mind or a friend's face in your mind, and you cannot come up with their name, no matter how hard you try. But you move on to a different topic, you stop talking to that person, you go on to do something else, and bam, that name pops right in. And it's that same kind of dynamic. It's like when you don't put the effort in, it allows it to flow. So cool, thank you. All right, so Anthony wants to go ghost hunting with me again. Okay, Anthony. Actually, I might have somebody that I can hook you up with in Dallas who does some ghost hunting that I think you would enjoy. Okay. All right, so Veronica is here. And this question's about her neighbor. Who all is actually living with her and how long staying? That's really kind of outside my purview, um, and none of my business who's there. I mean, I feel like as long as they're not being a pain in the butt, then yeah, I don't got an answer. Sorry, Veronica. And we have Momo from Pittsburgh. Hey, Momo from Pittsburgh. Sin, you kill me. So, all right, I'm putting this up. Don't be mad at me. So, Sin said, I thought I asked about Damien last time. You did ask about Damien last time, and you asked about some other guy the time before. But I'm going to tell you, of all of the guys that you have brought to my attention during these live feeds, these live streams, Thursday Night Live, um, the one that you had earlier actually seemed like he had some interest. Just don't scare him away. That's my concern with you, that you'll scare him away. And Deb says, this is nothing new, but my 53-year-old daughter is so disrespectful to me. I'm trying to think of a way to communicate this nice, like kind of. It's your choice who you want to have in your space, and it's your choice who you want to interact with. And if your daughter is disrespectful to you, then it is totally appropriate for you to have boundaries and either not interact with her, pull your energy back. Now, if there's health issues going on where you need her, that can be a lot more challenging. I get the impression that she just kind of doesn't care, but I also feel like you have not really exerted boundaries with her and said, this isn't acceptable, and applied some kind of a consequence to it. Um, so for her, it's just a really old, bad habit. gave me this word and I'm going to say it. I'm sure you've heard the word enabling. You are enabling her to have that bad energy and be that way. Um, so I think there's a lot that you could do about it. But I think the first thing is for you to sit down and identify what behavior you would rather see from her, and then identify, at least for you, what the consequence is that if she doesn't make a modification that you're going to impose. And then the hardest part is, and then impose it if the behavior continues. But I really feel like it's a boundary issue, and you allow her to cross your boundaries. If you want to follow up, post it below. Okay, so Lady Sabia says, I have 8 grands and 2 great grands. My youngest grand is almost 3. Okay, and we have a very special relationship. Other people notice it. He would rather be with me than everyone. And I normally don't go here in any of my session works, but this just jumped at me, just bam. Sorry. I just get the impression that you have a past life relationship with that grandbaby. And I feel like it was a special relationship in that past life that has come, full circle and been recreated in the present. I just feel like there's this very deep soul connection that you have with each other. Like you can read his mind, and I don't know, the two of you, when I see when you're together, you just kind of resonate at the same frequency and the same vibration, and it just feels wonderful to me. So nurture that relationship. And I'm going to say this to you, the baby's 3, but when he or she is older and they potentially start acting out, please, don't enable them. Tough love is good love when it's applied appropriately. So I'm just kind of giving you that heads up in case, you didn't know. Okay. All right. Oh, man, I wish, okay, I'm going to put this question up here in a second. So years ago, I used to do this psychic fair, and I would keep a magic 8-ball on my table. Now, you have to understand, it took me months, well, more than months, to find a magic 8-ball. Every time I would go into like Walmart or Target or whatever, I would go by the toy aisle and I would go over to the magic 8-balls and I would pick up the magic 8-ball and go, do you want to come home with me? And I would flip it over and it would say, I'll tell you later. And I'd get the next one, not right now. I don't know. I would always get these negative responses. And so I wouldn't buy it. And I was waiting I got, like a yes, definitely response from the magic 8-ball. And that's the one I bought. And that was what I would keep on my table. And so now I'm going to put up this question, and I think you'll understand why. I'm prefacing it with this. Hi, George. Love you. So the question is, can you go to Vicksburg with Debbie and me on the 21st? Wait, magic 8-ball. It's undecided now. I kill myself. We need to talk about that offline, George. Okay. So this is Deb. Why is my daughter so disrespectful for me? Learned behavior from her dad and stepmom. So is this the same? Yeah, it's the same question. So Deb, I don't know. I answered that. So hopefully I answered that. Okay. So Lady Sabia says he's one of the new kids. No violence, not destructive. Has not said the word no. That is really great. Um, but you're the safe place, and I'm hoping that that dynamic will always be the safe place. But I also feel like you have good boundaries, and I don't know, I just feel like this kid is just going to grow up wonderful, and sensitive and compassionate, and a world changer, and somebody that just really needs to be watched and nurtured, but not enabled, so that he ends up being a extremely valuable member of society. How's that? Oh, you guys kill me. You kill me. Okay, so Terry says, question, gay single for more than a decade. Will I ever meet a man for love? Okay. Okay, I'm a little oh, if I could actually read, it would be a whole lot better. Okay, hang on one second. So when people ask me these questions, Terry, where I all automatically go is, well, actually, to a law of attraction kind of attitude. It's like, what are you putting out and what are you receiving, if anything? And when I look at your energy in your relationship space, there is always this kind of separation or distance that you create between you and the other person. I feel like it's very challenging for you to be vulnerable. And I don't mean that you can't cry, but I feel like it's challenging for you to open your heart in that way. I feel like there's been hurt. Um, and so it's kind of like you don't want to. And that's why you're not finding it, is because you're not attracting that to you. I hope you were here for the beginning of this thing. Again, if you have a follow up question, just post it below. All right. All right. So, ladies, Sabia says, smiles through pain, had lung surgery at around 5 months. Of course, there were some tears, but he did so well. Kid is unbelievable. Please give me some insight. What is this kid? I mean, he's just a great kid. You know, People incarnate in different levels of awareness and different levels of awakeness. And I feel like, he's a very old soul. I feel like he's very aware, very awake. Um, Looking at your YouTube handle, I'm going to make the assumption, now you're here, that you follow some kind of a spiritual practice, and I would maybe start imparting that on him, as an example. If you do yoga at home, get him to do the yoga with you, or Tai Chi, or, sit and meditate with you, or whatever that is, because I feel like he's a sponge, and is a pretty clear channel to energy. But again, a very old soul, and so there's a deep understanding as well. No, he's going to continue to shock you throughout his life. So just do it. It'll be good. So Lexi says, Rita, you are awesome. Thank you. So I'm hoping that my answer made sense to you. Okay. Um, all right. So Veronica's back about her neighbors. I think they're breaking the rules and have to have that many living there. But Veronica, it's not your deal. Um, I don't know. You know, even if I told you something, there's not anything that I can do about it. There's not really anything you can do about it. And so just think about all the energy that you are wasting being upset about these people who have too many people living there. I mean, if they have noise going on after 10 o'clock at night or whatever the sound ordinance is, call the police. They might hate you, but, it's something that you can do. Um, I don't have anything. All right, so Son wants to know if I'm open to giving him her a reading. And so, Son, here's how it works. I don't answer questions about dead people. If you ask a question about predicting the future, like, um, will I get a job, or something that's just very open ended, I'm just going to just give you the bad time about it and move on. So if you can ask a pretty specific question, I would be more than happy to provide an answer for you. Okay, Veronica's back. Other topic. I saw a parade of Native American spirits walk by my apartment. Do they need help? Are they stuck here? Um, there are spirits everywhere, and there's two philosophies when talking about disincarnate spirits hanging around. Some people feel that we should help them, and other people, myself included, feel like, you know, it's not our job, it's not our responsibility to just go and go, oh, there's an invisible dead person walking around over there. Wait, go to the light, go to the light. They might have some karmic reason for being here. Um, if it's an attached entity and it's creating some kind of harm or damage to a person, intervention is appropriate. But if they're just around, um, they're just around. Um, and I don't get the impression that. So I get the impression. Let me change this a little bit. I get the impression that by your apartment is where one of their walking trails were. So I don't feel like they're there all the time, but they do pass through there in their journeys around the invisible world. Unlike a ghost who resides in the house, for them, being outside and moving around and hunting and doing that kind of thing was more their home, versus being tied to a property. Okay, so Bradley asked a question or has a comment. I feel lighter as a result of releasing my anger. I want to continue my path. I don't want anybody messing it up. Anybody I should be aware of. Okay, so that's a little bit of a challenging question because we all know so many people. And I think this would be more general advice for everyone and really goes with what I was talking about with the whole law of attraction. So if you're going along, so I'm like, la, 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 I'm having a good day. I'm happy. Things are good. Yeah, la, la, the sun's shining. The birds are singing. And then you go have an interaction with someone, and the next thing you know, your energy has dropped. Whether it is you have a negative interaction with that person, or they blow you off, or whatever that is, or you go around them and you feel your energy drop just by being in proximity. That's what you need to be aware of, and that's when you need to take a step back and go, okay, what's going on, and what do I need to do? Are they just having a bad day? Which I can deal with it, but is there something deeper happening? Um, and if somebody does something that's upsetting to you, having being able to communicate it, being able to take that step back You know, one of my personal favorite words. So if you're a friend of mine, just be warned. If you mess with me, you're going into purgatory. That's kind of like the hockey, cool off box or whatever it is, but purgatory. And you get to hang out there until the point that I feel comfortable that I can let you back into my space, that I can let you back into my vibration. And it might be that once you're over there, that I don't want you back. And I've created enough separation between me and you that I can make that determination of, I don't want you back. And so that's where the awareness should be, is what's going on inside. What things or what people am I dealing with that is dinking with my energy, because I want my energy to be good and I want my energy to be high. And if your energy is being messed around with, then that's where the awareness should be. So I'm not going to put it to a specific person. And I think this advice is something everybody can use. But Bradley, great question. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Yvonne wants to know, and Yvonne, I almost want to ask you, and actually, I'm going to ask you, Yvonne, if you could put what the topic of your podcast is. Do you do like personal growth, spirituality, ghost hunting, ancient mysteries, talk about books? If you could give me the genre, I think that would help me look, because, when we talk about stuff like this, I like to kind of look at the competition and your market segment, and I can give you a much more, a deeper answer. Okay. So I'm going to look for your follow up down below. And we have Nicole. Hey, Nicole. Okay, so Anthony put, I'm not going to say the name. Oh, now I'm wondering who this is, but I had a dream of a friend that I will see on Saturday, but I haven't seen her since February. And in my dream, it seemed we were not on the same speaking terms. Well, Anthony, sometimes people's energy shifts, and we change, and that's okay. And if that's what's going on, then that's what's going on. Sometimes we grow and expand, sometimes we contract. Sometimes our energy gets uplifted, sometimes we just become an old cranky bitch. It all depends. And so, if I went from being like fun and happy and uplifted to an old cranky bitch, and then you're like hanging out with me and you're like thinking to yourself, wow, she used to be fun, but now she's just like old and cranky. Okay, I'm not old and I'm not too cranky. But anyway, and that's okay. And if you decide, kind of like I've been talking about, that that's not an energy you want in your space and you want to be around, then it's okay to let that friendship go, or again, create some distance. Sometimes people are just going through phases and they come back, and that might be what's going on, or it might not be what's going on, but you'll never know until you meet with them and make some kind of determination of what your next step is. All right, so we have Chris. All right, so it's kind of like a two-parter here. My 20-year-old daughter has one more semester to get her BS. Comes home today for summer. Was just informed by her she will be staying with her boyfriend, but still wants me to pay for everything. Told no. Am I being too tough? That includes the $15,000 for the last semester. Okay. So, Chris, this is going to be a little interesting conversation. So I don't get the impression that this will be the first time your daughter will have stayed with her boyfriend. And I get the impression that they spent a lot of time together all last year. And so this would be my gating angle toward it. How did she do last semester? If she did okay last semester and it looks as if she's on track for graduating with this last semester, then get her graduated and just get it done with. Um, whether you allow her to stay with her boyfriend or not, that is not going to keep them apart in the reality of the whole thing. Um, and just be happy that she's going to graduate. Yeah, but but that would be my measuring line is how has she done this last semester? Because I feel like she's been with him a lot. And if she did okay, then it shows that she can focus around her schoolwork and get her stuff done and have a relationship. Okay? Thank you. All right, so Terry's back with relationship questions. The last time I felt someone's interest, I made a move but was rejected and couldn't be more wrong, and it broke my heart, and now I just don't know anymore. I feel like unless someone makes a move. Terry, I so hear you. Um, but maybe it's time to go inside and look at that pain and look at that hurt and look at those things that are in your inner world, that are in your subconscious, that you are projecting out into the world. um, that's not attracting the right person to you. But again, I feel like there's hurt and pain, and I feel like it's not just the last relationship. I feel like it goes back much further and much deeper than that. And if it's something that you feel like, it might help getting some professional support, and to me, working with the counselor is not a derogatory thing. Sometimes there are things going on inside of us that we just can't see, and having an outside person point their finger at it and go, well, what about this? It makes it so that you have the opportunity to make that shift and make that change. And I work with a lot of people where, they think they're doing good, but they know that there's something not right. And I'm like, well, you got this going on and this going on, because there's not really anything worse than trying to lie to a psychic or skirt around the issue, that you can kind of do to a traditional talk counselor. Anyway, um, but I feel like that really needs to be addressed within you, and it will help. Again, not just this current rejection, but I feel like there's more of a history of it. All right. Okay, so son, see, you asked a freaking like predict the future question. Okay, so this would be a predict the future question. How does my love life in the near future look like? I'm feeling an opening in partnership is coming soon. Any advice? Now, I'm going to look at this because you're kind of sitting on the borderline for what I will respond to, but hang on one second, son. Okay. So, yes, son, I'm going to agree with you. I do feel like there has been stuff that you've been working on that you are shifting within yourself. So, here is my piece of advice. What you're showing me is that there is going to be this window of opportunity. Like the clouds are going to clear and the sun is going to shine. And my hope for you is that when the possibility, the opportunity presents itself, that you don't like freak yourself out and shut it down, because it'll go away. I do feel like you are creating the space to have someone come in. But I also feel like there's a very reactive part within you that could just as easily shut it down once there was a possibility or opportunity there. So that is my piece of advice. So if you feel like your emotions are coming up when, you're in this period, then, working on mindfulness, breathing, separating out, is this the reality of what's going on, or is this just my feelings about what's going on? So, okay. All right. Thank you, son. And I have to just say, oh my God, it is Anthony Sanchez in the house. Oh my God. Dude, I so love you and miss talking to you. Thank you. I just feel honored and blessed to have you here. Wow, I just like been working that law of attraction. I have like all these really super great people coming in that I just love so much. Thank you, Anthony. Oh. Okay, so Yvonne has the podcast. And so comedy, RE, spirituality, truth, conspiracy theories. Perfect, Yvonne. Um, okay, so I'm going to, and I know you're going to hear exactly what I'm going to say. I mean, I feel that you could go more radical, and I know that you can go more radical with the comedy part, or deeper on that part, more sarcastic on that part, whatever word you want to put there. um, and I'm just wondering if you choose not, or edgier, I like that word too, edgier. I'm wondering if you choose to not do that because of the platform that you are airing it on, which I totally understand. um, Yeah, so I mean, I like the concept that you have. I think that people are resonating to it. But again, I feel like you would have a deeper base if you kind of like, took the I'm really nice mask off and just really, got down to the nitty gritty. And I do feel like you can, but there's a piece of you that's been hesitating. Again, I don't know if you think that it's more appropriate, or if you are concerned about the platform. So, like, as you're sitting here with me, it's like I just am kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care. And I can be nice and appropriate if I want, but not very often. Um, so I hope that answers your question. And please do follow up if you need to have a follow up question for that. Okay. And so Anthony says, you're not old, but thank you. Well, okay, I'm not old, too old. All right. So Chris is back. 4.0. So she has a freaking 4.0. But she is in Washington. He is in New Mexico. She ditched me Christmas and summer. Saw her less than 2 hours in 3 months. I felt like she should give me time if she wants my money. Um, she wants me to pay their rent and bills, car care, phone, entertainment. Okay, well, that's a little on the pushy side, and I think if I had one of my kids coming with their freaking handout to me, then I would just, I wouldn't take it real well. It's one thing if I'm offering and this is what I will give you, um, because I love you and I want you to be successful, but not I want. Um, and so maybe you can go inside and say, this is how much I'm willing to offer you. Like I'll pay your tuition and I will give you X many dollars in, toward rent and whatever. and that's it. I mean, they're adults. They're in their 20s now. They can go get little part-time jobs to cover the balance of the expenses. Um, yeah, they can do that. And especially if the boyfriend isn't working, um, then he needs to just go get a freaking job. So now I totally understand your concern. Um, as far as ditching you, I mean, she's a kid. This is what they do. They do turn around when they get a little bit older, and actually like become the people that you used to like before they were teenagers. Um, but she's not quite there yet. So, okay. Oh, we have Anna reading. So, Anthony, do not send Anna reading a friend request just in case you were thinking about it. Okay. Excellent. So, Yvonne says, and this is about her podcast, excellent. I'm gearing towards edgier. Yvonne, I think people will love you, and I think they will really resonate with where you're going with it. So, and you should have me on as a guest because we could like be radical together. Anyway, okay. So where are we? So we got a couple of minutes left. Um, yeah, I saw Lexi. Okay, so Anthony says I was about to say the same thing. Okay, it's really hard, Anna, reading for me to read through this when every other post is from you. I wonder what that did. Hide current comment. Huh. Well, that'll just take me like forever. Okay, so Crisp said, that's true. Neither of them have jobs. And the other parents said, absolutely not. They don't pay for school either. Yeah. And so, you know, I would sit there and again look at what's appropriate for your daughter. What were you covering for her before? And that's it. There's absolutely no necessity or reason for you to help pay for the boyfriend. That's anyway. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Lexi and Anthony, you should all like get together. Okay, so let's see. So Anthony Sanchez, my sweet, wants to know who's Anna reading. So Anthony, one of the things that happens here is that I get a bunch of trolls who just want to lure you away with the hope of getting a free reading by sending them a friend request. So yeah. Anyway, so it looks like I got to the end of the list. And Anna reading wants to give a reading. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up because there's only 2 minutes left. And, so I want to thank you all again for coming tonight. Stop it. Go away. Thank you. For coming tonight. I really appreciate all my Facebook peeps and all my YouTube peeps. There was a really great turnout from YouTube tonight. Thank you. And again, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to soulhealer.com, send me a note, and we'll get something set up. Don't forget to like my page, Dr. Rita Louise, on Facebook. So if you send me a friend request, I'm probably not going to accept it. But you can just like Dr. Rita Louise, which has my face on it, and not the poodle with the tinfoil hat, and it'll keep you informed of all the live streams and other stuff that's going on. Or if you're like my YouTube peeps, you can subscribe to my channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, hit the bell, do all those YouTubey things. Anyway, so my time is up, and I'm going to hope that I can do this and